childhood friendships, weed gummies, drunken proposals, and difficult in-laws. That's right, we are watching the 2024 rom-com Our Little Secret with Lindsay Lohan and Ian Harding.
Ta-da! Just gonna be that day.
What a bright and chipper beginning.
Welcome to the Rom-Com Rescue Podcast, a brand new podcast where we bring the love and life lessons from your favorite rom-coms. I'm Kira Sabin. I'm a healthy dating educator, a certified coach, and a positive psychology practitioner. But more importantly, I spend my days teaching the skills and mindsets of dating.
And I'm Dr. Isabelle Morley. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist and an EFT certified couples therapist, and I help couples have the happiest, healthiest relationship possible. Join us weekly as we break down the best love lessons from your favorite rom-coms so we can all get into the best relationships possible, because we believe that we create our own happily ever afters.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We are back in our holiday episode extravaganza. I don't know, I'm making this shit up on the spot. We're back with another Netflix Christmas rom-com. Mind-blowing these next sure are. And this week we are talking, of course, about Our Little Secret with Lindsay Lohan, with Ian Harding. So guys, this was new for both of us because it obviously came out in the last week. But Isabelle, let's get into it. But first impressions, what did you think of Our Little Secret?
I'm not going to lie, I came in skeptical because I watched Lindsay Lohan's one last year, which I thought was not very strong, very hallmarky, so I had low expectations. However, as you know, I kind of loved it. I thought it was actually, I'm surprised, but it was not quite as cliche as I expected, and the ridiculousness was pretty contained, and I do feel like they had some interesting, complicated relationships with a lot of nuance. I was surprised by the amount of cheating that unfolded at the end there. Right? Very un-Christmassy. Took me by surprise.
Very much, yes.
But Logan was great. Logan was the leading man that I want to see. I thought he was fantastic and so endearing and charming. So yeah, I gotta say, I'm gonna watch it again for sure. It was good. Did you feel the same way?
When I read your notes, I'll watch this again for sure, I was like, I've lost her to the rom-coms.
She's not well.
She's not well. I'm worried about her. Do I need to send her DoorDash? I'm not sure. I don't know if it's not peer pressure, but you were pretty excited about this. And I think it got me more excited, right? Before I watched it in total, I saw your taco review and I was like, what? What? On a 30% Rotten Tomatoes, like Christmas rom-com from Netflix with Lindsay Lohan? But hey, you know what? Here's the truth. I really enjoyed it. And so I ended up watching it with Danny. And I even think that his excitement about it, for some weird reason, got me more excited about it. He thought he loved it.
Did he really? Oh, that's so cute. Yes. I love that.
He loved it. He was just like, let's watch another one with that kind of vibe. I'm like, we are not watching rom-coms in my off time. We're watching them for reasons. And that's not true. But those are more classics. But I'm not usually choosing Netflix Christmas rom-coms for my downtime personally. But yes, Danny loved this. By the end, this was surprising. It came together. Yes. I enjoyed it. It was reasonably emotionally intelligent. I think, and here is my grand statement, I think Ian Harding was amazing in this. And I thought Logan was a great character. We'll talk about it a little bit more. But I want to see him in more rom-coms. I think he was adorable in this. I did watch Pretty Little Liars for a few seasons in the beginning, so I recognized him, but like I just thought he was great in this, and he
was so good.
Made him really stable and solid and consistent, and I loved that. Yes. Yeah, so I just thought he did a great job in this.
He has a little Ryan Reynolds vibes. There was a few times watching it and I was like, he looks a little bit like Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
I don't see that, but that's okay. But you guys, it's going to get weird today again. We can't take any of these Christmas rom-coms that seriously, right?
No. But I will say, compared to the one we did last week, which was Hot Frosty, this is 50 times better,
I
would
feel
say.
like we are in the Oreo of two shirtless Netflix rom-coms. So we got a Hot Frosty, and then we've got on this side Merry Gentlemen,
right.
which we're doing next week with Little Miss
You're
Recap,
right.
and we're in the middle here in the gooey.
This is the best
ooey,
place
and
to
it's
be.
kind of surprisingly maybe the best one out of the 3 movies.
Of course, we're sandwiched by naked men. Who wouldn't want to be in the middle of the Oreo?
Men. Hallelujah. Yeah, that's where we're
It's snowing men.
I don't know why I thought that was so funny. But I did. Holy crap. Holy crap. But yeah, so I surprisingly liked it. And I don't have any negative feelings whatsoever towards Lindsay Lohan, but I thought she did okay. I didn't think that this was the best movie that they've ever given her, but I thought she did okay with it. Yeah. But we do have some questions here that I feel like very much need to be asked. Very serious questions, of course, but occasionally we both write down questions we want to ask each other because they're the things that kind of stick out to us, and some of them are just crazy because holiday rom-coms.
These movies
crazy.
are crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Snowman's coming to life. We've got strippers. We've got exes, and then we lie about it. Why is there so much lying? Why is there always so much lying?
I don't know.
But
the plot moving.
Could you please share with me and our listeners the first question that you have for me?
And I'm actually curious to hear your answer. I really don't know what you're going to say, but would you attempt to do a reading in church if you were super stoned? If you're
No!
Right? You run out of that church and pretend that you were throwing up.
Exactly. I'm like, I would have said, I'm so sorry. I'm ill at the moment. I apologize. I'd be out of there, sleeping that shit off, eating my Cheetos, doing my own thing. I would never get up
And
in
try.
front of I think it's a Catholic church, right? And sit here and try to read some, I don't know what she could have been thinking.
Well, I guess she was not making the most informed decisions because of her current mental state. And this is, Logan let her down. He knew before they left for church that she was high. What was he doing?
I would say that if Logan had any kind of flailing moments, there's 2 that stand out, and this is one of them, which is he realized she was high. He even went, which was kind, to go and talk to the altar boy.
Only after her little nail monologue, though. I don't think he would have done that unless she hadn't gone off about how weird nails are.
But we get to see her, and I will say, just for her character, I didn't think they wrote a particularly likable character for Avery, for Lindsay. I don't think that she was really emotionally available, and they tried to give her a little bit of backstory, but the other part of that is she gets up there, she starts doing a little bit of Star Wars. Then she goes in to celebrate the song by Kool and the Gang. And then the kids and the choir are like, is that Celebration by Kool and the Gang? Shut the fuck up.
We know the words.
That 8 to 10-year-olds in 2024 know the words to Celebration by Kool and the Gang that came out, late 70s, early 80s. And yes, it's one of those songs that might be in the background, but I don't even think their parents are listening to it. Their parents are probably 90s parents.
No, you're right.
So I'm like, how would these kids know that it's not? I don't know, man. So I am just like, that was a reach for me. Of course, Hot Frosty and a snowman turning into a human isn't a reach.
No,
but
that's a miracle.
Baby Jesus Christmas Miracle. And
that's right.
So that was just a real big side eye for me of just like, I can see maybe one child whose parents love that generation, love that R&B of the late 70s, early 80s, and they dance around the house to it. But multiple kids knowing this? I think not.
Unlikely.
I think not. Please watch this video because I'm very proud of my stance on this. I don't know why. I'm just like,
I like how clear you're being about realistic musical expectations of 8 to 10-year-olds. Yes. Absolutely.
So, do you have another question for me by chance?
I do. I am curious what you would do if you were in their position, if you went to a new partner's house only to discover that your ex was also there. How would you handle it? And I'll just leave it at that because I have a thought. But would you pull an Avery?
No, I would not. Clearly, this was created for the tension in the story and everything else. But ultimately, they should never have lied about this. They could have laughed about it. We dated 10 years ago. We grew up together as friends. It's not a big deal anymore. We haven't seen each other in years. Like, this movie is over. Right? This movie is over.
Whole plot.
But yeah, like her whole I want to lie. I'm over that. There was no way that this was going to go well. And I realized that was the storyline that we had to go along with. But I just don't like those storylines. I'm not going to lie.
The reason it didn't land for me, I think they should have made the mom even meaner to make her panic even more. That would have sold it a little bit more for me. But also her assumption that everybody would just imagine them having sex the whole weekend. I was like, who are you hanging out with? Nobody's going to be imagining that. What a weird thing to jump to.
All right. Question now.
Okay.
Logan, right? So we know he had 2 moments. We're going to discuss the other one in a little bit. Pretty like stable, consistent, smart. I feel like we're supposed to get that they're early mid-30s, right? So getting his life together, would this guy be dating Cassie?
I'm going to put out what might be a controversial opinion. I'm not sure.
No.
I like Cassie. I think she's fine. I know. Let me tell you why. What's... Team Cassie, okay?
You always
Cressida.
pick like this one. I know, like this one overly attractive, kind of shitty girl that you're like, I'm kind of rooting for her. I don't
always
know
a blonde. I'm
I
just drawn to them, and I will defend them with my life,
I feel
Kira.
like this is a plastics or a Heather situation. I don't know. Do you like want to be friends with the in crowd?
Oh, is that what it is? Is that my sad desperation?
Are the in crowd? Are our listeners already the in crowd for you that you don't
they
need?
are.
A 24-year-old who's on her phone the whole time and barely talk to anybody?
She was, but so are all 24-year-olds. So are all 34-year-olds. That part didn't bother me. She helped him out. She told him what to wear. It was in a kind of an obnoxious way, but she helped him out. She helped him with his business. She was like, I'll connect you with family, friends, and people we know so that you can bring in the business. She was a good partner, especially compared to Cam. She was a good partner. And yeah, she seems young, so there was an age difference between them, but maybe he needs that self-esteem boost because although he's building his professional life, it's not going great. He's not making that much, or he's not making as much as he wants. I don't know. I didn't feel much chemistry between them or like affection, but I didn't think she was the worst partner.
I don't think she's the worst, but I wrote down here as we get into this is just everybody feels really checked out of their relationships. Everybody's just doing their own thing and living their own lives. There's not a lot of a connection. There's not a lot of intimacy amongst any of the couples whatsoever. Whether we look at Cam and Avery, whether we look at Cassie and Logan, whether we look at Erica and
Leonard,
whoever we're looking at, there's not a ton of connection and intimacy, and they seem to all feel comfortable with that and know that. And I feel like this is the kind of patterning that we don't necessarily see from the outside, but happens in our families, that both of these parents were a little bit more worried about what things look externally or what's happening on the outside and how their family looks rather than it imploding from the inside.
And implode it did. We saw a lot of relationships.
It did
that night.
I actually thought I thought we were only going to deal with Logan and Avery. So
Me
having cheating parents and everything else, I was like, wait, what? Whoa. And I actually thought that was pretty fun. I thought it was a little more interesting than the average moment that it was like, all of this is chaos. It's not just us. Yes. All of this is chaos.
And the perfect family with the perfect painted picture every year is really not perfect. And I did that coming out at the end of, actually, things are not as easy breezy and great as they seem. You're right. People are just disconnected and coexisting. but eventually that all gets blown up.
Absolutely. And I love that at one point, Leonard, Dan Bukatinsky, he's fantastic. And he's like, well, you know, I'm in a loveless marriage. And Logan's like, yes, we all know you're in a loveless marriage. Like we
can all see that.
We can all see that. I love how we just acknowledged, yes, we know
Obviously.
You guys are in a loveless marriage. You barely talk to each other. It's really interesting. It always interests me to see married couples. Are they touching? Do they hold each other
Sweet
through
moments.
their day? Exactly. And we've seen none of that except between them in the closet with their non-spouses. That's right. I love Judy Reyes. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm a Scrubs fan and everything else. And God, she's honestly been in so much. So I love her. It was fun seeing her on here. And I will say, Netflix is really impressive on getting lots of bigger name stars for smaller roles. People kept showing up that I was like,
right.
That's so weird that person's doing this.
The vet, what's his name? I was like, oh,
Chris
you're
Parnell,
here.
who's a Saturday Night Live alum, right? So we also have Tim Meadows, who's a Saturday Night Live alum. By the way, little early trivia, who was also in Mean Girls with Lindsay Lohan. So that was full circle moment there. And then last week we had Craig Robinson and Joe Trulio, people that I really like. And I'm just like, dang, Netflix, good for you. It's pretty freaking impressive. And next week, Stephen Keaton, who you aren't going to know, but Michael Gross, who starred on Family Ties, he plays her father. Do you know what Family Ties is?
Oh, I don't. I really don't. I know.
Okay. I'm leaving that one there.
It's going to be, everything's fine. We're going to be fine. We're going to make it through this.
We are. We're going to work it through.
Yeah.
We're going to work through it.
We're not going to let ourselves drift apart.
We're not.
So many couples do.
No, we're not going to become emotionally unavailable to each other just because you don't watch as much TV. Well, I also have 15 years on you for it too. So
you've had some extra time to watch shows. Yeah.
Let's talk about what were some of the best love lessons and some of the worst love lessons we saw. So we combine these now, guys, and we'll make sure you know what's a good lesson or not a good love lesson. But where do you want to start, my sparkly co-host?
Oh, can I start with my
yes
little monologue?
I would love it. And I'll be over here cheering in the background.
Thank you. I gotta say, loved Logan in almost every scene of this film, but we have to talk about proposals.
We have to. Again.
Because it is so bad seeing him drunk at her surprise going away party, misinterpret her dad's advice, and decide to spontaneously propose when she's moving across the world and has been pretty clear about that. And he thinks this is going to be the way to keep her. Let me tell you all the things that were bad about this proposal because there's so many of them.
She's got bullet points, everybody. It's fantastic. I wrote, get it, Isabelle, underneath. Because I feel the same way. I read these and I'm like, yep, go ahead.
Okay,
Let's
so
break
first
us
of
into
all,
it.
No, I'm just going to say it. A proposal shouldn't be a surprise. Shouldn't be a shock to anybody involved.
Nobody should be shocked.
Never,
Zero.
ever.
Agreed.
And especially if it's in public. Do not surprise propose in public because then they're going to feel pressure to say yes, or they won't give an honest answer, or if they were like me, they might just start crying and run away. It's not fair to them. Don't do that to them. Yeah.
Or like me, they may start crying and run away.
Because I would get overwhelmed and I would think I would just...
Not at your actual proposal, though.
No.
Because the way you shared that, you're like, or like me.
You could have, when I got engaged.
Got overwhelmed and ran away crying. So I was like, that's
an
interesting thing that we've never done.
No.
Okay, got that.
He proposed at home, just the two of us on a Sunday night. He had hidden champagne in the fridge. No, it was No, I didn't cry and run away.
That is hilarious, though.
So also, I'm combining them here, but people should be talking about their future. You should be having conversations. If you're near the point of getting engaged, you should be okay with having those talks about where are we? How do you feel about the next step? When are you thinking we should consider doing that? These should not be
Absolutely.
scary conversations if you're going to be married. Because guess what? Once you get married, lots of scary conversations ahead.
All over the place. And if you're dating correctly, then there should still be scary conversations because you're building a relationship from the beginning. That's what I
Yes.
believe in, and that's what I teach. So it's not like, somebody got locked down and now you can just,
Go
bring out
crazy.
the chaos, right? But it is
So I
really,
do like that idea.
I do want to just sidestep for a second and say, I think what we saw was really real, which is Logan is sad and nervous that she's going.
Desperate.
He can't deal with his emotions. He gets overly drunk and is not in a great headspace to say goodbye in any way. And then he does like a last ditch effort in front of everybody they know to try to get her to stay. And that is just not the way to create a relationship that feels good.
No, you shouldn't, just like you shouldn't have a kid to save your relationship.
Exactly.
You shouldn't propose to save your relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah, I totally agree. It almost felt like he was setting her up to be the bad guy because he kind of knew she made her decision and he had a chance to then see, you're not committed to me for all these reasons and you're leaving me and it's not the other way around. It just felt, he was drunk, so I'll give him that credit, but.
And it felt immature. And I think that
Oh, yeah.
one of the things I loved about this best is we see that he's changed. We see that 10 years later, he's grown up a bit. He's more of an adult. He can express his emotions. He can share things way more than I felt Avery could, for that matter.
Absolutely. And let me give one more tip to
Yes,
anybody out there getting
I want
proposed
all of
this
the
holiday
tips.
season. This is a real concrete one that I feel shouldn't need explaining, but if you get down on one knee and the person says, stand up, don't do this right now, you should just really listen to them. And you should stand up and laugh it off and talk about it later. But
Exactly.
once someone's telling you to not do it, don't do it.
And I think that this is so confusing because we have told women that if men love them, they'll go and do these big and over the top and grand gestures and they think that's love. And that's just a moment.
Yeah.
That's just a moment. And whether that person does it personally in your house, which is what happened to both you and I, where it was more of a private thing, or they do it publicly, it should be with both people, knowing what's going on. They can be surprised about the time and
the ring, whatever.
The ring and what happens in the moment. But everybody should be like, this is where we're going.
We're ready.
What we both want moving forward. Could not agree more. Of course, that makes the 1,000,000%
You are so good at math. You are so good at math.
I'm so good at
impressed.
math. Oh my God. Thank you for noticing that. And
Math side note, I'm so embarrassingly bad at math that my mathematician trained father is mortified by it. Like, he can't get over how bad I am at math. He went to MIT and studied math, and I don't understand how you don't understand basic math. So what you said might have actually been good math, and I would not know.
it was.
That's what I thought. It sounded right.
It sounded right. But just there's so many ways that we destroy, sabotage relationships because of fear or because of just bad
Expectations.
misinformation. And we can do better than that, right? So I'm just glad you brought that up because that'll be a continual conversation because it seems that everybody freaking likes to propose in a rom-com. And most
they
of them
do.
are not great. So anyway.
I will say I was glad he didn't propose at the end of it. I was like, good.
Yes.
Because that would have really detracted from me. But here's
Agreed.
what I have to ask you.
Okay.
What did you think about after this admittedly terrible proposal about Avery being like, that's it, we're done. This is over.
Ridiculous. They've been friends for 10 years and dating.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Do you just give up your best friend of 10 years because of an embarrassing drunken night?
Oh.
No.
And yeah, that's fine. What I think what should have happened is the next day, and I get why this wasn't included, it's not film worthy, right? But the next day when he's sober, her being like, oh my God, what happened last night wasn't okay for these reasons. I'm really hurt. I don't really see a future for us after that. And because you feel so strongly, me being in London, what you said about my mom, blah, blah, blah. And the same outcome of breaking up, but not that sort of catastrophic, dramatic moment that just didn't feel, like it honored the extent of their relationship together and their families'
Exactly.
relationships with each other It just felt too
That's
impulsive.
It is. That seemed like such a response for a 3-month-old relationship or a 6-month. Not like somebody
Yeah.
you've known for multiple years and you've been good friends and then you started dating. Like that, it was really weird. But I do want to bring this up, and I don't know if I have the answer, and I don't know if there is the right answer. But we see her deciding to go to London after this job. They've clearly been dating now for multiple years. They've met pretty young. He does not seem to be part of this conversation at all. Should he be?
Yes.
I'm really torn because I am a
Yes.
believer of your 20s are for exploration and travel
Adventure.
and getting to know who you are and what you like and what's important to you. But I do have to say, they're still in their early mid-20s. It sounds like they've been dating for quite a while. How is he not part of this conversation? Why is he not going with her? Or why are they not
Yes.
discussing some kind of, it's 2014. There's FaceTime. Why would they not be
Yeah. To
having
maintain.
a relationship? If that felt very 1984 instead of 2014, because then I would believe it, because you couldn't afford to
Yeah.
even call like your boyfriend back then because long distance was expensive. But
That's such a good point. I hadn't really thought about that. You're right. And he does not agree with the decision, clearly. But
clearly,
he also has a lot of assumptions that she's running away from memories of her mother or her father. But maybe she wasn't. Maybe this wasn't a commitment issue or a grief issue. Maybe it was like an amazing job opportunity and the chance to have an adventure. In which case, the way he approached this was, again, really inappropriate. But you're right. Like, why didn't they make a shared decision? Because, and this is a line for everyone, and I don't know where the line lands for
Right.
each person, but
Absolutely.
eventually in a partnership, you do prioritize your relationship. Otherwise, you wouldn't stay together through all the things that life throws at you. And I guess she wasn't there at the point of putting her relationship before this career opportunity. And it seems like he was there. And that just sucks. A mismatched commitment.
Absolutely. And the thing is that when I said I don't have the answer, it's because I legitimately don't have the answer. I can't tell somebody whether the career that they're chasing is more important than the relationship that they have right now. But I will say that as I've gotten older, I realize that I spent a lot of time focusing on my career and a lot of shit passed me by. I will say that, right? Like it took for me until my 40s to get my shit together about this and say I'm going to make some real efforts to try to date and have a relationship.
And have a Danny.
And have a Danny. Ding!
Let's shift from one of the best man, I think, in this film, besides her dad, who I love, to arguably the worst man in this film. Because you know what I wrote, and I'm going to read it to you, and I've changed my mind drastically. I wrote, Cam isn't the absolute worst, but he's definitely not the best. He might be the worst. I think I've changed my mind a lot on Cam. He's self-absorbed.
Yep.
He does not help Avery out at all.
At all.
He's the spoiled favorite golden
Yep.
child. Doesn't help his siblings out at all. And then homeboy cheats on his girlfriend while
At
she's
home.
staying in his house.
In front of everybody he knows virtually. So disrespectful.
So disrespectful. And listen, I could understand his ex showing up after all these years, him realizing, oh, I like her so much,
Right.
way more than my current partner. I'm going to have to probably end this and try to pursue this. But you can't give it a night. You can't delay that for a week. But
Exactly.
his family is not good at the impulse control when it comes to cheating.
I guess not, because that's the thing. As a reminder to everybody, things like this do happen. And I love to remind everybody that love is a choice, not just attraction. At
Oh,
that moment,
Kira.
I know, right?
Yes.
Because at that moment, he's making a choice for Sophie.
Yeah.
He's basically saying, I see you. I feel like our connection from our past is strong enough that I would rather pursue a long-term relationship with you than my girlfriend Avery. But you're absolutely right. Like, why would you not, after Christmas, sit down and say, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
This has
I feel
come up.
terribly.
I've decided I want to move on from our relationship and pursue this. Do it kindly, do it real, be honest. They honestly, considering how disconnected they felt, I don't even think they barely touched this whole entire movie, right? Why are we so shitty? Why can't you, particularly if you're not married, particularly in a newer relationship, leave,
Yeah.
break up, start fresh, do it the right way, right? It's not even that long. We're so bad at impulse control. If I don't pursue this
person right now,
second, it's gone. And that's not the way love or relationship should ever be.
Although, now we say this is before he knew Sophie was moving back from Australia. So he really was thinking, she's going to be going back to Australia. I just want to hook up with her. Like, I'm so attracted. She's here. And I don't know if that's better or worse than him wanting to ditch Avery for her in a more serious way.
I just think at the end of the day,
It's not
you have chosen to date somebody and commit to them. So that means your tongue and your penis should probably stay in your mouth and in your pants.
That seems reasonable to me. It really does.
And then if that doesn't feel like it's actually what you're like wanting, you share that with the person and you talk to the other person. I mean, no offense, but how do we know Sophie even fucking wants Cam? Besides the night that she might have hooked up, she might have been like, right,
that
like
was fun.
That was fun. It was like old home week, I made out with my high school boyfriend or whatever. But who's to say? She's a fucking doctor. I don't think she wants that shit either.
God, that's so true. She'd be carrying him in that relationship.
100% she'd be emotionally, mentally, everything, because this guy is on his phone. I thought to myself, is this guy so ridiculous that he does not see his mom and how she favors him and how she's reacting to his girlfriend in front of him? Is he so checked out?
No.
And I'm like, is that real? And I'm guessing it's a little real. But I think that overall, to be that checked out, I would never. He didn't tell her anything. He didn't help her out in any way.
No.
There was no preparation besides, my mom's going to love you.
Eat a cookie.
Eat a cookie, but not too many.
The dog.
We'll get to the cookie thing, I guess, in a second, because they're like, what human could possibly eat 12 cookies? Don't fucking...
Every human, okay?
Don't food shame me on a Netflix rom-com.
We all felt shame.
Come on, people. 12 cookies?
Easy. You got that in a bag.
On gummies? Fuck yeah. I'm surprised it wasn't 20.
What kind of 5-pound dog can eat 12 cookies?
Okay, can we talk about this for a second? Because this is my biggest beef with this whole entire thing as an animal lover. Because once again, this is part-time animal lover podcast. That dog chocolate thing stressed me the fuck out. I have had not one, but 2 dogs in my lifetime have chocolate
poisoning
and have to go to the vet. So one was my roommate's dog who got into some chocolate chips, and then Rex actually ate some dark chocolate, my dog right now, a few years ago, and we had to pay $1,200 for him to just get charcoal, all the stuff. But that little dog is tiny, so I'm like,
she was rubbing it,
and she's rubbing it in, trying to feed it to him and stuff, and I was like,
you're not a good person.
That kind of ruined her for me a little bit, because I'll maybe give her if she's not an animal lover or pet owner, but just the same, that was just shitty.
Also, just put them back and run away and act like you weren't there and be surprised that the cookies are gone.
1,000 other people could have eaten those cookies.
Say it was Cam, and if he was a good boyfriend, he would say it was him.
Say it was Callum. Because nobody is giving that kid any kind of attention whatsoever. I literally wrote down, is this kid going to be a sociopath? Because nobody pays attention to him. He's just sitting there with THC gummies in his pocket. He's a teenager. His mom doesn't even seem to like him. This kid, what are we witnessing here?
I know. I don't know. It was weird because I couldn't get a handle on the mom and who she liked and why. Like, it wasn't just that she liked men, although she clearly liked Cam. She loved Logan off the bat, so it seemed like she just liked men because she didn't like Cassie for a long time. Like that. But then she hates her son, who's a man. So I couldn't figure out. It's very volatile.
I did write down, is Callum going to turn into a sociopath? Is this child neglect? What the fuck is going on with this poor teenager?
I think in some ways he's living his best life. He's no oversight. He has to get the bags from the car. Besides
you as a parent and a therapist know that is not true. You know that's what teenagers think. They need boundaries. They need
She gave him boundaries. She stopped him from drinking the champagne. That's one point. for
Who's
Erica.
the parent in this podcast? Because it's not me. So you're just like,
I
she
mean-
stopped him from having champagne.
That's something.
She's giving him 0 else, but she stopped him from drinking.
So my
Hilarious.
4-year-old at family events, my parents give him kids champagne, which is sparkling apple juice. And so they drink it in little kid champagne glasses and
Right,
love it.
right, right.
And my 4-year-old will be like, I love champagne. We have champagne at the holidays. Champagne is the best. And I keep telling her, don't say this in school. It's kids champagne. It's kids champagne.
I'm sure that they're just French, but I'm sure that the school is probably like, I doubt that they're giving their 4-year-old
Glasses of champagne.
glasses of champagne.
No.
I'm guessing, but
Yeah.
that's adorable. That's maple.
I know.
Adorable.
So you wanted to talk about something.
Which
You can't
Who
see what
are
I'm
we?
looking at.
who are we? Like, we used to be super professional on this podcast.
We're
Who
falling
the fuck
apart.
are we now? We're falling
We are
apart.
truly falling apart. Okay, I'm just
Falling
going to
apart.
tell you because you apparently aren't in my head, which is upsetting, but I'll
Upsetting.
accept. So I said, how do we feel about Logan trying to tell Avery that Cam lied to her when Cam lied about how late he got in? And I said, I think that was the right call. And then you wrote, I want to talk about this.
I don't know. I feel like the only reason that worked for me is because her and Logan had a past friendship. Not even relationship, a past friendship. So he has known her longer than he has certainly known
Her
Cam.
family. Yeah, their
Right.
families know each other.
So I do feel like it was right of him to say, you're my longtime friend here. I care about you. This is something I saw and I thought you should know about it. But we also saw her, I don't think it was a boundary, more like a wall of, are you trying to fuck things up here?
Interfere.
Are you really interested in changing things up? Because if not, stay out. But we both know in that moment that Lindsay was in denial of something.
Yeah. Ooh,
Right?
She was
But it's
prickly, too. She was quite mean in how she told him she didn't want that information. Gotta say.
I do think that it was good of him, but I also think maybe he should have asked for permission. In my perfect world, because I'm always thinking about, I think he should have said, last night something happened that I feel you should be made aware of. I'm going to give you the option if you want to hear that information. Right? So
Yeah,
she can come
yeah.
to him and say,
It's about Cam.
exactly. And then she can say, thank you, I'm not interested, or I would like you to tell me. But
Yeah.
I don't know, because I
I
also
know.
feel like that 100% should have been the conversation between her and Cam, but that's not going to happen because Cam
Not with
kind of
Cam.
sucks.
Yeah.
'Cause he
Cam's
sucks.
off doing his own thing.
So I am glad that Logan told her, but and I'm going to say it, and I don't love it, but I don't love how prickly they made her.
I
He
know.
was like falling back in
Reasonable
love
and-
with her. And then I'm like, but why? She's not giving you anything. She's
No.
with another person here. She's way more concerned about her boyfriend's mom than she is with
Anybody
of the
else.
situations here, including her own relationship. I'm not sure if I really got what Logan was so excited to get back with.
I agree. And honestly, seeing her with Cam reinforced my concern that she's not really ready to do the work of being in a relationship because
Right.
she's letting him get away with all sorts of stuff and not engaging him on it. If my possible in-law was sniping at me for screw top wine or wearing jeans, I think that I would be going to my partner and be like, oh my God, I'm like really not doing well with your
Right,
mom. I
right.
had no idea what her expectations were. Like, I need you to tell me how to fit into this dynamic better. And she just lets him do whatever he wants, not be there for her, stay out drinking instead of driving her home when she needs to go, give the key to the realtor. She
Right.
doesn't confront him about anything until the explosive confrontation where everybody brings up what's going on. And she's just not investing in that relationship in the end.
I want them to get together, right? We're supposed to really want that from the beginning. They're childhood sweethearts, all that shit. But I'm wondering what he's holding on to here besides the past. Because she doesn't seem interested in getting to know him. She doesn't seem interested in restarting things up. She doesn't seem interested in trusting him. She doesn't seem interested in even creating a friendship again. She is just trying to survive the weekend. So I'm like, Logan, what are you holding on? And listen, I don't think Cassie was a great partner, unlike you, but I'm just wondering, I didn't see Avery as that big of a step up besides maybe what they had before.
Yeah.
But we don't see that much of that.
We don't. We really don't. We don't see enough of them falling in love with each other. The moment after, was it the tree farm or after church, when they like have a moment together and there's maybe they might kiss and then she says, okay, good night, and they go their separate ways. I didn't feel that at all. I wasn't like, yes, finally, kiss. You guys love each other. Do it. I was like, why would they kiss right now? I feel like they don't have anything, any chemistry, anything established.
I enjoyed this, and the script was good enough, and Ian Harding, I just really liked his Logan. But, at the end, I wasn't like, kiss, 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 kiss. Sometimes I am, right? Sometimes I'm like, ooh, I've been waiting for this one. And I wasn't that at all. I'm like, oh, okay. They decided to end up together, as they probably were going to, because this is a Netflix holiday rom-com. But it's kind of like, but why?
Yeah. They needed to give her more depth, more everything. They just gave her kind of a flat character, like I said. But they needed her to do more of a grand gesture than just helping him out with his career. Yeah.
Let's talk about my least favorite love lesson. And I am now going to be obnoxious on this podcast about this moving forward.
I don't even know what you're about to say. Yes.
I know. I am so dramatic right now. I am so sick. Logan should not have had to do the grand gesture. She should have.
Yeah.
She was the one who acted badly. She was the one who needed to mend. The fact that they had him come and apologize to her, and I'm like, dude, for what?
For 10 years ago?
You were kind. You were supportive during this whole experience. You even tried to help her be liked by her new boyfriend's mom. You know what I mean?
He did a lot. I know.
He
Boundaried,
did a ton.
lovely.
And she held him at arm's length. She didn't want to basically barely talk to him. She didn't want
help
anything.
Him with his proposal until it was like...
Oh, yeah, she totally flaked on it and just said, oh, my God. And so all she did was print it up and drop it off at Erica's.
I know. I totally agree. And because it was about work and it was like her doing work to help his work, it didn't feel romantic or emotional. That will help him financially and that's a great opportunity for him. But I want to see some emotional grand gestures, right? He gets her childhood home. He goes out of his way to do that for her, essentially. Because her dad is selling the house.
Yes,
and
you're right.
Logan is the one to tell.
Yes.
And doesn't take credit for it or even tell her about it. What's she doing for him? And also, I would love to see an apology of, hey, maybe you were right that I was running away and I'm so sorry that I couldn't see it at the time and I couldn't face it and I know that it really hurt you and honestly it hurt me and I missed you too. And here we are now back together and I'm a new person. You're obviously the best person ever. Let's see what we can make together. But it's so often the man doing the grand gesture and it just reinforces that narrative that's not helpful.
I'm officially over it. From now on, Hollywood, please hear me, or all places where rom-coms are being made, want the person who is supposed to be doing the grand gesture to do the grand gesture. Mm-hmm. So meaning the person who maybe fucked up, messed up, or just said the wrong thing, or hurt somebody's feelings and they didn't mean to, we are automatically thinking it's going to be the guy. But in this situation, it shouldn't have been.
No. They both could have. I could see him doing a delayed grand gesture.
She was like the receiving, and I'm just like, but why? I haven't actually seen her do enough or say enough or connect enough with him to warrant any of this.
Yeah, agreed. Not for nothing, but I feel like Cassie liked him a lot more than Avery did.
Probably.
Cassie, she's helping him out. She's introducing him to people. She's supporting him. I don't think she's the best. I don't want anyone to listen to this and be like, Jesus. I don't think she's the best, but she's a sleeper in terms of being, she's okay. She's 20-something.
If we truly hold her up to the activities of her versus Avery, she was more supportive and a better girlfriend than Avery was.
Yeah. Yeah, and we see them being affectionate that first morning when she's sitting with the dog and they're playing with what the dog's name is again, Victoria or something. I was like, remember. They have a connection with each other. That's sweet to see.
No, and like you said, she told him what to wear. She was like, this is what's expected. I mean, she set him up better, certainly, than Cam did. Cam was, as you like to say, self-absorbed. He was only concerned with Cam-related things.
Yep.
For sure. For sure.
Let's talk about the biggest surprise, which was that I did not see Margaret and Leonard affair coming.
No,
that was
I didn't either.
so shocking. It is not surprising in that they apparently, I mean, I didn't know Margaret was that unhappy. They seemed like their marriage could have been fine. But can we just talk about how, and I understand, and I actually have so much compassion for how cheating can happen, does happen, why, etc. Like, I don't need to vilify people for it. Unforgivable to make out in a closet while your spouses and children are downstairs.
At that point, it's just like you're trying to get caught at some point.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to, because
chase that high of excitement of...
Right. They're both, I think, supposed to be in their either late 50s or early 60s. You can control yourself until you get alone. Come on.
It's Christmas Eve. You animals.
You filthy animals. What are some of our favorite moments and quotes?
I will say I did like that the mom never aged. I thought it was just so funny and fit her so perfectly. And what I didn't write down, but like, I loved the weird dog vet interaction. I loved the vet. I loved how he was like, this is unethical. No, but okay. But also I'm going to charge you full price for faking this. Right. And she was just like, okay.
Yeah, when he like laid that down, I'm like, that's fair.
Fair,
that's
sir.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
Is this bad to say? But I liked that scene with everybody in the room just outing each other for all of the bad shit they were doing. Something about that was very cathartic for me.
I think it is, because it's that release, right? That release of, okay, the truths are finally out. We can now really look at what the fuck is going on and come up with real answers instead of all of the lying and the misinformation and the mistrust and everything else. Yeah, I liked it when I was all out there. I'm like, okay, good. Let's get some shit done, people. That's the way I like to live my life.
You know who didn't do anything wrong, though? Stan and Cassie. And I'm just going to say it. They didn't do anything wrong. They were just victims of everyone else in their family.
I'm going to back that up with Stan. Big Tim Meadows fan. I'm an SNL fan for years and years. I don't know if that's true for Cassie. I think Cassie was, do I think that it was unlucky that her boyfriend's ex, but I don't think that she was so checked into this relationship that all of a sudden, you know, like, I think that Cassie is going to move on and meet somebody who I think is a little better match for her and her age and everything else. But I will say Kristen Chenoweth, because we haven't said it. She's fantastic. I'm a huge Pushing Daisies fan. I think she is amazing. I don't like to see her as I'm a little over shrewy women between this and then in between Nobody Wants This and The Mom and That and stuff. I'm a little over this making women, particularly mothers and mothers-in-law, terrible people, mean, horrible. I'm just over that vibe. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but it's not the average. It's not the regular.
It's not.
My in-laws are the nicest people in the whole wide world. So I just think it's not really the norm. And I have to say, one of my favorite scenes, I liked Avery so much better high than I liked her in her natural state. She was more fun. She was more like willing to come out of her shell a little bit and let down her
walls were down.
Yeah, I was like, I'm into this Avery more than I am to the one that tomorrow is going to be uptight and cold and emotionally unavailable and
she's guarded.
So concerned about this woman when she's not even concerned about her own relationship. I don't know why she cares so much about Erica when it's clear her and Cam aren't even that connected. So why would she care this much?
Is it just needing to be liked? Is it just that?
Is it a mom thing? Because she lost her mom? Is that what trying to tell us, maybe?
If they had brought that in more explicitly, that would have made a lot of sense, too. You're right. In the moment when they're about to be caught and she says, listen, I don't have a mom. If I stay with him, this will be the mom in my life. It's so important for me to have a good relationship with her. Oh, my God. That would change so much of this for me. Be like, heart is broken. Logan, help her out.
Maybe that's what they're trying to tell us, but I don't think that Erica is that long-lost mom for her. I think Erica needs some therapy herself. So I think she's maybe chosen incorrectly there. But Logan's mom seems real nice, right? And when we move on
Yeah.
to favorite characters, Logan's grandma is the future me.
So funny.
Not really remembering things,
Saying
making inappropriate comments. That's virtually me. Talking about British guys. She was like,
Love that.
I saw that as my future. What about you? Any favorite characters?
This is the wrong time to say it, that I really liked Erica. She was just so ridiculous. She was so crazy. Terrible mom, obviously, but I don't know. She like loved her dog to death, so respect for that, because I love my little dog to death too. And she was a lot of the humor, the lightness, even though she was also like the villain. So I don't know. I thought she added a lot.
I did too. I thought Kristen Chenoweth is just, like I mentioned, is just great. Yeah. I also think, besides if you really think about it, like maybe like that wine comment, that like some of this stuff was a reaction to what Avery was doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she like commented on how the pictures of her are creepy.
Yeah.
And then she heard it and then she said, no, I meant the bed is creaky. And I was like,
Not better.
Not better.
I know.
She was like, I'm sorry, the bed wasn't good enough for you. So really a lot, not all of it, but a lot of it was her reaction to just this. I would probably, if I were a mom, who is this woman and what does she want from our family? She's a little guarded and maybe she should be.
Yeah.
This woman lied to her family the whole entire time.
She was right. She was right to be guarded around her. Exactly. We are really taking a turn on that.
Solving world problems right now. Solving world problems.
Can I add one tiny more point, which is...
Please.
I don't know what Cassie and Cam are thinking, bringing their new partners home for the whole holiday with their family. What are you doing, guys?
Okay, so I wrote this down and then I forgot to write it down again, which is, why would you ever bring a new girlfriend or boyfriend or partner to a 5-day holiday? They come Christmas Eve or they come for a few hours Christmas Day.
Yes, one event.
Come for 5 days. No. That's just you. You're just trying to hurt them.
Because it's driving distance. If it was across the country and there was limited opportunities, but you could drive up and do Christmas baking for 4 hours and drive home. What are you guys thinking?
What are they thinking?
No wonder Erica was pissed. This is her family holiday with these randos.
I do want to say there's a soundtrack standout, and it's crazy because I write these songs down almost every time, and I rarely mention them. I don't know why. I skip over it as we get moving. But I do want to mention that one of my all-time favorite songs, and you've heard me say that before, and it's because this song has been in 4 rom-coms in the last couple of years.
What?
So the song is Light On by Maggie Rogers, and it was played in this. So as soon as it came on, I was like, now I just like this a little bit more because I love the song. But it was also in The Idea of You. It was also in Your Place or Mine with Reese Witherspoon and Ashton Kutcher that came out on Netflix like last year or year before. And it was also in Late Night, the Mindy Kaling, Emma Thompson, I don't remember his name, but he's super cute, movie from 2019. So I just wanted to mention that I was excited, but I was like, I swear this has been in other movies. No other podcast is randomly telling you how many movies this has been a part.
You want
There's also
the information.
In Tall Girl, by the way. So Netflix really likes this song.
Do you think they're contractually obligated to put her song in like 30 movies over the next 10 years? Wait, can you hum it for me so I know which song it is?
No.
Oh, Kira, you always
withhold. I do. I sang like 4 times on this podcast, ridiculously already. Here's something you should know about me. You guys tell me if anybody who's listening does the same thing. If you ask me to do it, I don't want to do it. If you don't ask me to do it, there's a very good chance I'm just going to start like, you know.
That's the teenager in you. That's reactance.
Yes, it is. We'll discuss that in the therapy segment with Kira next week after Merry Gentlemen. After all of the deep love lessons that we're going to be taking away from Merry Gentlemen.
So many.
I will say I'm moving on to fun facts and trivia, but there's very little because it just came out and Netflix did not go over the top on getting this out there and everything. Although this was like number one on Netflix for days. So was Hot
doing
Frosty,
well.
and so was Merry Gentlemen. So
They've done it right.
I think all of them have gotten at least 40 million watches.
Get the
45
fuck out of here.
That's the thing. Like, we can be like, who's watching this? Turns out
Everybody.
A fuck ton.
Also,
Multiple times we are part of
right?
that as we are watching
4
these
out of that
for
40
this.
million.
Yes. But Netflix actually a couple years ago signed Lindsay Lohan for 3 movies, and this is the last of her 3 rom-com movies. So she did Irish Wish, and I think Falling for Christmas maybe last year, and this one. It was a little bit of her kind of coming back, and I think that this did a pretty good job of, you know,
reintroducing
like
her.
Yeah, for sure. And then that montage in the beginning they went from 2014 to 2024.
Not
People
ready.
online thought that it was insane. They're like, why did you choose like those moments to represent the last 10 years? So there was like the Elon Musk Cybertruck. There was like, there was just
that
like
was random.
The weirdest things, right? Stranger Things, that made more sense to me.
Because it's Netflix.
Right. Than like some of the stuff they put in there. But it was hilarious that on different platforms, people were like,
what's
this
happening?
Montage of what they thought was important in 10 years is nuts.
Totally unnecessary. Did not add anything. I have to assume the like CEO of Netflix is good friends with Elon Musk or something. I just assume there's some kind of personal relationship that fuels those decisions.
I hope for Netflix's sake, they're not. I'll just say it. Any rewrites or alternative endings?
Oh, look, I like your rewrite. You share your rewrite.
That's good. So for rewrite alternative endings, I just wrote, which I already mentioned, is that she should have been the one to do the grand gesture. I think that we should get used to seeing in movies the people who mess up the worst should be the ones who come in and you know, whether it be just an apology or something bigger, they should be the ones doing it. And it shouldn't just naturally fall on the guy.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely.
So would they last?
I'm not even reading your answer because I'll be too biased by it. They have a friendship. They have a history of a strong friendship. They have a shared community. Integrating their families would be a breeze. Part of me wants to say yes. They've got a good foundation, but they have a lot of work to do, and she has a lot of work to do to be ready for this relationship. I think they'd last just on his end, but it's really up to her, I think. What do you think?
I feel the same way. I feel like she was pretty emotionally unavailable. Like I mentioned, I don't think that she showed up as a partner or potential partner for him at all. I'm going on this background that Netflix kind of sold us, a friendship that they sold us, that this would maybe work. I want it to, because we always want to feel like these people who are maybe meant to be are meant to be. But I do think that she was not particularly ready for that connection. And there's something very comfortable for her in that checked out version, being in a relationship with Cam.
Yeah.
Because I swear, if somebody I had known since childhood said, I need to tell you something, I saw something, I'm going to say, tell me.
Yeah, I trust you.
Right? Exactly. So let's talk about our ratings.
I love this because you coming at me with, are you serious about your taco ratings? Are you okay? And I was really like, I don't know if I'm okay, first of all.
I know I'm not okay, but go ahead.
I gave it, I'm actually shocked to say this, I gave it a 4 overall, Kira.
I did too. I ended up too, because I was like, at the end of this, I enjoyed this.
I know, me too.
I thought Ian Harding was adorable. I enjoyed it.
And I liked how much was going on. It was complicated. There were so many characters and relationships. There was a lot of depth, but it wasn't too busy and crazy. And then for love lessons, and I wrote 2/3, but I think it's probably a 3.
I wrote a 3 also, because ultimately, although I did not think that they made her character very emotionally available, I think it was emotionally intelligent. What they were sharing was good love lessons. You don't want to do this with a partner, or you do want to do this. So whatever I see where most of all they're saying, this is healthier, this is not, and I agree with it, I agreed with most of it. I don't know if I thought that Cam, Cassie, or Avery were that great of partners on any level, But I do think that I think it was enjoyable, and I think we could definitely learn from it. And if you watched this and enjoyed it, you're not alone, because we enjoyed it too.
Yeah,
and
we
so
did.
My husband.
And 38 million other people.
Seriously.
All right, everyone, that's it for today. If you liked this, subscribe or follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on your favorite podcast platform.
And if you loved it, and we sure hope you did, please leave a review. Just put some stars down, nice words, kind thoughts, haikus. We love it all. Just to help us get the word out about this podcast, because we're looking for rom-com domination in 2025. So,
Rom-com dom. Yeah, you like that?
I did like that a lot.
Join us next week for The Holiday, starring Cameron Diaz, Kate Winslet, Jude Law, and Jack Black. Until next week, create your own happily ever after, and remember, no surprise proposals, even at Christmas time. Never.
Ever. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're so funny right now. You're like just kind of grumpy, like I see it. You're like, I don't know, whatevs. Okay.
Oh my God.
It's highly entertaining to me. It's highly entertaining.
I'm so grumpy. It's Christmas. I don't know why I'm so grumpy.
We don't have anybody from our hometown, which yours is Boston, so it doesn't work as well. You know, trying to have us open up a Christmas tree farm or a hot chocolate shop. So
yeah,
kind of
save
like,
our
what's the
parents'
fucking
business.
point?
Yeah, that's
right?
how
like,
it feels.
What's the fucking point?